Welcome. So this is just a short YouTube about the crown chakra, what it does, how you may experience it, what you can do. And remember, we all have these centers of consciousness, each chakra, and its gifts, its polarities. And as we dance within these polarities, we experience so much. But remember, at the brow point, if you saw that YouTube, we will go into more neutrality. We're going to go more beyond right and wrong and up and down and left and right and black and white. We're going into a neutral space. So when we come into the crown, we are really open to full expansion on a crown consciousness level. It's super important that we are grounded first and that we don't artificially activate the Kundalini energy and just suddenly have an expanded crown, because people have done that, not in my classes and not under guidance, but when people have gone and done their own practice, and it's very hard to stop that, and it's very hard to deal with it, because it's just a current that will then really dominate, and it's not balanced with the other centers. So it's just a small expression here that it's really important that you have guidance, that you are with a teacher, or that you have practiced with a teacher so that you know what's happening, because Kundalini yoga is very, very, very powerful and you will get good results all the time, but the body needs to be ready for it, because it is still an embodiment of energy. The analogy I like to use is like a light bulb, and it's designed for 40 watts, and you're going to put 100 watts through that. It's not going to be very good. So you can get healing crises and also issues with the nervous system. So really be mindful that it is a sacred practice. It's like when you drive a car, you don't not have a license first. You don't study that. You don't just go out there and just decide to make up your own rules, or decide, oh, I don't care about petrol, I decide to put water in there, or I don't care about the road rules, this feels right to me, or someone taught me that I need to use the reverse more, so I'm reversing everywhere because someone taught you something that worked when you had to reverse. It's a lot like that with yoga or Kundalini yoga. It is very holistic, and when you have a teacher, or when you're very aware, you understand when it's enough and when it's right for you. So the crown chakra in particular, from my experience and what I've seen, is essential that you're very grounded, that you are really bringing up that pelvic floor, that you really worked with your base chakra, and of course the others as well. That's why the flow is up. The flow of the Ida and the Pingala is up, forming the chakra centers as it moves up, and then there's a graceful unfolding and then moving back down equally. And each way along there will be tests and purifications or experiences to really help you to experience all that you can be in your unique way. So there's no right and wrong way ultimately, and there is your technique, but I'm saying all this so that you are respectful of it, and so that you can do it with grace and according to what is right for you. That's very, very, very important. So with the crown, you're going to experience infinite potential in a very palpable way, palpable within yourself. So this infinite consciousness is what masters have tapped into, and inventors and inspired people like Beethoven, that have written, in such an inspired way, and Mozart, because it wasn't in the realm of logic, it was an inspired, in spirit, expanded consciousness. And this is what the crown chakra is here for. So whenever you felt very inspired, you would have had that flow of energy, which is constantly changing for us. And you may have been able to feel it for 5 minutes. You may have felt it for a whole day. And you might have felt it just for a few seconds. It really depends on what you're ready for, what you've prepared your body vessel for, and how you want to live your life. So what we're really learning is to embody this, to become our own gurus, our own masters, ultimately being in touch with these centers of consciousness so that we can honor them. We don't exploit them. We don't look for special gifts and egoic trips. We look to live a divine expression that gives us joy, that is creative, that is fulfilling, and that serves others as well. So when you come to the crown center, you will feel inspired. You will realize that anything is possible. And it isn't just going to be a belief or an affirmation or something that you hang on to and hope is true. You will experience it within yourself. You will realize what quantum physics has shown, that there's infinite potential, that you are light play of consciousness, and that you can change anything. But it's not going to happen from forcing it and by repeating an affirmation. It's going to be from a deep integrative awareness and feeling that truth. So we're moving towards this in this world, on this planet. We're moving towards realizing that our thoughts affect everything, our attention affects everything, and really we need to feel and vibrate with what we want. So if you want to have that great relationship, for example, you need to be feeling that within yourself, and you need to know what that means, and then you need to embody that. That's it. And there is no other way. You're constantly manifesting. You're constantly seeing around you where your consciousness is at. So see it as a gift. If you have limitation, then there's a limited awareness, and that's great, because then you can see it and you can go, okay, somehow I feel a limitation, or I feel an attachment, and therefore I'm repulsing something, or I'm not attracting that because my belief is this. Now, you might consciously put out different beliefs, but is your subconscious aligned? Is your heart and essence aligned when you are in stillness? That's where meditation will help, and where all the blah blah and all the hyperactive, you can do this and you can do that, is really great temporarily, but you end up coming back down to reality, and the back of your mind or your unconscious patterns are just gonna run the show. And that's what happens, to keep you safe and to use those programs. So to unprogram that helps you to really open up your crown consciousness, and vice versa. It helps you, the crown helps you to realize the infinite potential, and as you open to that, it will serve you, and you can filter that down through your DNA, through your cells, through who you are. Now again, as always, it comes with the breath. Erratic breathing isn't going to open that awareness. It comes with soft lips, soft jaw, relaxed shoulders, relaxed fingers, nice and receptive. And it comes with where you place your attention. The crown chakra, when you want to activate it, really responds to your attention. So when you go into meditative state, we're not focusing at the brow point now, we're focusing at the center here, and we're really connecting with that. So allowing yourself to do that and relax. This is where you connect to the divine. This is where you connect to your home space, which is everything. You are not separate ultimately from the other person, the plant, the air that you breathe. We share everything. And somehow we have gone through a phase, through this Kali Yuga, of forgetting our oneness, forgetting our connection, and it's coming back. And some of us have remembered it more than others, and they're the freedom fighters, and some of the other people that are getting it are just sitting in meditation, holding that space. And that's beautiful, because that is a powerful thing that I have been guided to realize long ago. My most powerful practice is sitting in it, embodying it. I don't need to go out there and shout, what am I doing? This is so great, and you need to do this, and the world is in trouble. My most powerful space, and it is possibly for all of us, is to deeply embody this in your own little backyard, in your own little kitchen, in your own little travels in your car, without any egoic need to say, hey, look at them, or they need to do this. This can arise, but sit in it. What am I doing right now? So we're focusing at the crown, where humility sits. Humility will fall into your consciousness and bless you with the sense of oneness, expanded consciousness, and humility. Humility is essential. If you don't have humility, it is not going to occur to you. It will be a fake expression of feeling one. People say they feel at one and they're this and this, but if that humility isn't there, and the understanding that we're all at different places in our journey, and that in fact the person that is still working on something that you might have worked on long ago is you. It's something you've been through, and in a collapsing of time where time doesn't exist, that person is experiencing something that is inherently you. It might have been something you consciously feel you are finished with, but it is still that. This helps us to be open, and also to have a sense of we don't even need to forgive. Because ultimately we talk about forgiveness and we have practices for that, but ultimately when your heart is open and your consciousness is expanded, there's nothing to forgive. That's the true forgiveness, when you realize there's nothing to forgive. Everybody's doing their best. If they had more information or different life experience, they would do things differently. Now that doesn't mean that you have to stay in a relationship that doesn't work for you because you realize they're innocent, or that doesn't mean you have to put up with something that's not honoring you, but you can let go in peace and you can lead by example, and your presence can help those beings that haven't realized it yet or have temporarily forgotten. Because in the end, we are all spirit and we know everything. They've just incarnated here potentially to teach you that, to play the villain, to play the resistance, to play your awakening call that made you feel so smashed up that you literally cracked open. So feeling that really helps us to enjoy the dance of life and to do our personal best. Our idea that we are here as an expanded field contracted into a unique expression. And the crown chakra is all about that light and that oneness in a very authentic way. Not just words, not showing off, and not trying to change the world even, but embodying it and offering. Offering. Whoever wants it can take that. Whoever gets something can take that. That's what I feel I'm doing. And I've often had a lot of issues around charging, around even opening my mouth, because in itself it could be perceived as a judgment. It could be perceived that you need to grow, you need to learn. But the truth is that you are where you are. And if you see my YouTube and you love it, then that's your perfect soul guidance. And if you don't, that's perfect equally. Because I do not realize or know whether you going to the botanical gardens or to a concert or whatever that is your perfect path to guide you to your space that you need to be in, your role this lifetime. So as much as I don't go to a pub and I don't relate to certain things like that, that doesn't mean that I didn't used to in some past life, or that it hasn't got its place. But for me, it's not resonant, and I need to honor that. And that's it. I don't need to have other people support that choice either. And that's where that oneness and that consciousness comes from. So the crown chakra nourishes the whole body, the spine and the nervous system. When that is balanced, you feel in place, you feel connected, you feel, like we said, at one, not just with your surroundings, but within. It's a very powerful place. Now, there are essential oils that help with this, and there are crystals that support you. That's on my ebook, on my website, kundalinistudio.com.au. You can download it and print it. It's very easy, and enjoy the contemplations. And again, trust your intuition. If your intuition tells you otherwise, do that. These are general guidances, guidelines that might work for you. It is really ironic and crazy to believe that anybody knows what is needed for you, because each chakra is not singular. Essential oils work on many dimensions, as do crystals. So let's cut that constriction out and really trust ourselves. Use the sort of books and whatever wisdoms you find as a guideline, and then tune in. If you're attracted to a certain color, there's always a polarity. If you're working with a particular color, you might be working with the polarity to feel something like the yin and yang. So don't get stuck with that and be free. And most important thing is trust the treasure wisdom inside you. Initially, it might guide you to places that don't feel great, but you don't know if that wasn't your perfect path, because sometimes you need to fall off the bike to learn that, yeah, when you're going down a slippery path, the bike is not going to be the same as when you're on a path without the moss or without that angle. And that lesson is profound, because later on you are not going to have a more difficult situation. So let's not judge that. And the more you listen to that voice, that intuitive voice, and tune into the crown and use all the chakra centers, the more they're going to become loud and clear for you and guide you on your unique path. Not your parents or your grandparents or your ancestors or your home environment, which has a certain vibration, but your unique path. And as you embrace that, you're going to help other people do the same. And that's going to be a very innovative space to be. It's going to be a very uplifted, happy place. People will sleep in peace. People will express incredible things. And all these controlling forces that are keeping that suppressed will disintegrate. They can't exist. That doesn't even take a war. It's not even a fight. It's a pure presence and a vibrational field. So you can embrace your boundlessness. You can embrace the gift. Maybe you felt boundless when you were a kid. Remember for a moment, did you ever feel boundless and infinite? Remember that and anchor into that to grow that blossom, to grow that bud. Write it down. When did you feel anything is possible? A lot of us feel that when we're in love, and when we may be on a holiday, or maybe when we're having a deep meditative experience, just strikes us suddenly. It's like a holy moment. Notice that. And if you tune into that, ask, let me expand this. Let that chakra center expand, and then ask to bring it through your head into the nervous system, the spine, into all that you are, and bask in that vibration. This will help you to be open-minded but clear. So don't worry, you're not going to get scattered and have lost your identity, because your identity is still here. You're still grounded. You're still this being that you are. But within that being, which is unique, you are able to embrace the full expanded self. What a beautiful thing. And then you can take action from a place of awareness, calmness, passion, alignment, heart center. Ask yourself, may I live in alignment with myself for the highest good of all, so that life is more joy, life is more real from a soul level, from a oneness level, dancing as a unique being. That is beauty. And I really feel inherently all is good. Without being in a polarity, all is in its place and a reflection. And in that place, we sit in it and we can move into this enjoyment without judgment. Sat Nam.